Welcome! I'm a Super Mario! Don't worry, I'm not gonna do the accent for the whole thing. Anyway, welcome guys, this is Alka1993 and we are here for deck profile request number 3. I got a request from... did I write it down? The TheAlexBarreras. I wrote it pretty quickly. Maybe I got a letter wrong, but I'll write it down in the title, and that's his name. Anyway, he requested that I do a deck profile of the Hieratic-Mach OTK deck that I use in Duel 48. In that video, I explain how the whole OTK works. It's also a good example of how it works. I'll slightly go into that here, but if you want a good example of how it works, here's a link to Duel 48. Should be on your screen right now. And gone. Alright. In this deck, we have one Blue Eyes White Dragon, because we want a normal dragon type with loads of original attack, and Blue Eyes was the one that I found that had the highest. Then 2 level 5 normal dragons, and I decided to go with 2 different ones because I felt like it. Curse of Dragon is a well-known one because Yugi used it, and Parrot Dragon because he's fun, and he's not that much different from Curse of Dragon, just 200 less defense. That's the 2 that I use for the OTK. I have 2 Battle Faders because there's a good amount of times that you don't get the cards you need in your first hand, so then the Battle Faders can block and stall for 1 turn. Cardcar D, if you summon it and then you tribute it, you can draw 2 cards, but it then immediately becomes your end phase. So make sure you set anything you want before you play Cardcar D. Cardcar D is helpful in combo with Fader, because then you can summon D, Cardcar D, draw 2 cards, but then your field will be open, so your opponent will be able to direct attack you, but then Fader can just stop that. 3 copies of Effect Veiler to stop opponent's effects that might want to stop me, and in the rare cases that I want to synchro summon, it's also a tuner, so I can use it for that. I have 1 Gorz. If they direct attack me, I can summon Gorz and bring out itself and a token equal to the battle damage, because that's usually what happens, a token for the battle damage, because it's barely ever effect damage that works with Gorz. And then I have of Eset, Nebthet, and Tefnuit all 3 copies, because that's the main 3 cards here. Eset and Nebthet are both level 5. Eset can be normal summon without tributing, but its original attack becomes 1,000. And just like with all the other Hieratics here, once they're attributed, you special summon 1 dragon type normal monster from your hand, deck, or graveyard and make its attack and defense 0. Nebthet, you can special summon it from your hand by tributing a Hieratic. This is the last one in the combo. Again, when this card is distributed, special summon a dragon type normal monster from your hand, deck, or graveyard, but its attack and defense are 0. Tefnuit is the first dragon you usually use in the OTK because it can be special summoned from your hand if the opponent controls monsters and you do not, but it just can't attack during the turn that it is special summoned this way. So yeah, usually it's Tefnuit first, and then it doesn't really matter if you tribute summon Eset first or special summon Nebthet first, because they both have the same effect that special summons a normal dragon, and they're both level 5, so that doesn't really matter if you go Nebthet second and Eset third, or Eset second, Nebthet first. I usually go Eset and then Nebthet. Also, if you have Esets or Nebthet or whoever or Tefnuit already on the field before you do the OTK, sometimes I have an Eset already because I'm not drawing the Tefnuit, and then I have another Eset and Nebthet in my hand, then I can do that. Or I have an Eset on the field and I have 2 Nebthets in my hand, then I can still do the combo, because then I can still get 1 level 5 Hieratic out, and then I get the effect twice to summon Blue Eyes, and then one of the 2. I have 1 copy of Darkhold to rid the field of any of my opponent's monsters. Heavy Storm to get rid of their spells and traps. A very helpful card, Hieratic Seal of Convocation, to add any Hieratic from my deck to my hand, so if I only have Nebthet, I'll add either Eset or Tefnuit from my hand. 2 copies of Mini-Guts. Like, Shien Spy is the main card in this OTK, but Mini-Guts can also be used. But then, if the opponent is at full life points, the opponent does need a monster of at least 1900 attack points in attack mode for this to work. I have one copy of Monster Reborn to bring a monster back from either player's graveyard. I have Mystical Space Typhoon because it may be a pretty good OTK, but the opponent's spells and traps can just totally stop you. So that's why I have one Heavy Storm and 3 MSD. I have 2 Pot of Dualities to get cards I need to my hand. It's unfortunate that you can't special summon during the turn you play it, but meh. Little drawback, but then I'll just stall with like Battle Fader or something, and then use the combo next turn. 3 copies of Shien Spy, very important to get the blue eyes to the opponent's field. Very important card in this OTK. And then I have Solemn Judgment and 2 Solemn Warnings to negate summons, so that the opponent won't be able to damage me before I get the OTK off. In the extra deck I have one Chimeratech Fortress Dragon, just in case the opponent runs Cyber Dragon and Machines, then I can use Chimeratech Fortress Dragon to get rid of all of those monsters and then summon one myself. Doesn't happen that often, but it's helpful sometimes. I only have 3 Synchros because, you know, I only have Effect Failure as a tuner and I don't use it that often. So I decided to go with Catastor because it's a very helpful Synchro. Black Rose to nuke the field if the opponent has really strong stuff. And then Scrap Dragon. I might add Stardust Dragon as well because I have 3 number 33 OOPArts Superweapon Machu-Mach. 3 is a bit too much, I think. I'll be taking at least 1 out. And I'll probably add in Stardust Dragon. Would I decide to do that? As usual with the other deck profiles that I do, I'll just post an annotation that I switch something. I also have one copy of number 12, Crimson Shadow Armor Ninja. Don't use it too often, but when Crimson Shadow Armor Ninja would be destroyed, you can just detach an Xyz material and it won't be destroyed. I have number 61, Volcasaurus. Once per turn, you can detach 1 Xyz material from this card to target 1 face-up monster the opponent controls, and that target is then destroyed, and that target's attack points are dealt to the opponent as damage. It's just that Volcasaurus can't attack directly during that turn, but it can still attack another monster if the opponent has another monster. I really like this guy. And of course, Crimson Shadow Armor Ninja, Volcasaurus, and all the other Xyzs are really only used at times that the OTK isn't really going to work. Then I'm just going to use Nebthet, Eset, Parrot Dragon, Cursor Dragon, whatever, for Xyz summons to try and win in a different way. This deck does actually have options beside the OTK. Tiras, Keeper of Genesis, while it has Xyz material, can be destroyed by card effects, and at the end of the battle phase, if this card attacks or was attacked, so it can happen on the opponent's turn as well, you target one card the opponent controls and destroy it, and that's a mandatory effect, so you have to do it. And during each of your end phases, you detach an Xyz material. So after 2 of your turns, its effects are gone. I have one Adreus, Keeper of Armageddon. Once per turn, you can detach 1 Xyz material from this card to target 1 face-up card your opponent controls and destroy it. So if the opponent has a really strong face-up monster, or that has a really annoying trap card that you just, like Wall of Revealing Lights, they could just have to get rid of, Adreus can do that. 2 copies of Gaia Dragon the Thunder Charger. It can Chaos Xyz change or Chaos Xyz evolution onto any of these guys, and also inflict piercing damage, so that's very helpful. Like, if the opponent has 1 strong monster on the field, then you destroy it with Volcasaurus. Volcasaurus can't attack directly, but if you just place Gaia Dragon on top of it, you can attack directly that turn, and you'll have dealt loads of damage. I have 1 copy of number 40, Gimmick Puppet Heaven Strings. Might also put a number 15 in here instead of the second number 33, but again, if I do that, I'll post an annotation. Heaven Strings can detach an Xyz material, and then all other face-up monsters on the field get a string counter, and at the opponent's next end phase, all monsters with string counters are destroyed, and your opponent takes 500 damage for each monster destroyed this way. And then I have Hieratic Sun Dragon Overlord of Helio, plus 2 level 8s, just like number 40. And once per turn you can detach 1 Xyz material and then tributes any amount of monsters from your field and or in your hand to destroy an equal amounts of monsters on the field. So let's say you have Nebthet and Eset in your hand and you use Overlord's effect to contribute both of them to destroy 2 cards the opponent has, and then both of their effects will activate because both are mandatory, and then you can like summon Parrot Dragon and Curse of Dragon when you want that, and then like Xyz summon into Crimson Shadow Armor Ninja or whatever other rank 5 you would want. I don't really have a side deck here because I don't really play with this often, especially not in tournaments or match duels, so I just have another Tiras, Gaia Dragon, and Battle Fader. So for now, I'll just add number 15 because I was thinking about it, and Stardust Dragon. That's it for this deck profile. As usual, I'll type the deck list in the description. Might not be the moment I upload it because I'm quite busy, but then I'll do it later. If you have a request of if you want to see a deck profile done of a deck that I've used before in a duel, then you can request that and I'll do that. Since I don't have to actually search for a duel, record the duel, narrate the duel, it's a lot easier. Like with the deck requests, I have to find the duel, record the duel, do all that, and then I always do the deck profile after that. But deck profiles, I just go into the deck and talk about it because I already have the deck. I don't have to make it, duel, narrate for the duel, and that kind of stuff. It takes a lot less time. So, I've done 53 duels so far. And there's quite a few decks in there that I've used that haven't had deck profiles yet. If you want a deck profile of any of those, tell me, and I will do so. And then from Alka 193, I will see you guys in a later video. Bye bye.